Hey, we missed him the last couple of times, but he's here and ready to rock and roll. It's the keeper of the flame over at AmazingRibs.com. Max Good joins us here on the show. Max, how are you, buddy?
Hey, doing all right. Good to see you again, pal.
Max, say hello to neighbor Desmond.
Hey, what's happening?
My audio went out. I can't hear.
What do you mean your audio went out?
I can't hear.
You can't hear?
I can't hear.
Hold on. How about that? How about that?
No.
How about that?
Perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
How,
in there.
How did you hear me before?
Because.
Was I just yelling that
Pretty
loud?
much.
It made it through the earphones? Oh, wow.
Pretty
Crazy.
much.
All right. Well, Max Good is in the house
Max,
here.
how you doing?
Doing good. How about you, Des?
I'm doing fairly well. I appreciate you asking.
It's very cold outside. Neighbor Desmond was called off of work tomorrow, if you can believe.
That's happening here too, guys. How cold is it by you?
It promises to be ambient negative 10 or so in the morning. So, it'll be probably negative 25, 30 after the wind chill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're calling for a negative 29 tomorrow.
Yes. All right. Well, Max wins. Who's going to be colder? All right, Max, so we have a bunch of stuff to get through here this evening, and I was trying to figure out a way to tap into this. This is the only way I can think of it. Hell has frozen over, Max, just in time for the real cold hitting.
I guess that explains it then.
We're going to be talking about two grills, or cookers, I guess you could say, and from manufacturers that I would typically scoff at, but we should hold off the scoffing until we talk to Max.
Well, I will tell you, I scoffed a lot at the first one I'm going to talk about, and that's Char-Griller.
Yeah.
Because I fell victim to what many poor schmoes did. Before I met Meathead, I said, I got to get a smoker.
Yep.
And dang it, those offset smokers look cool. I'm just going to buy this Char-Griller offset smoker for $150 at Home Depot. And they're just almost, some of your listeners will disagree. They'll go, well, I went and I did all this work on it. I welded it. I brought all these gaskets and stuff, but and I got it to work okay. But I can tell you, they just don't work well. That's why we don't recommend them. Right. However, I did try one of their gas grills that's kind of a modified charcoal barrel, and they've been on the market a long time, but I was scoffing away.
Right.
But they got a new guy, and he called me, and I said, all right, send me one of those gas grills. And I must say, they had relatively high-powered burners, just a 3-burner gas grill, about 13,000 plus BTU input on them. And the thing that I really was impressed is it's seared better than even more expensive gas grills. And it costs, you can get it from less than $200.
Really?
Now, yeah. Now, don't get your name and, plate put on it or anything, because they aren't going to last forever. But if you're in that price range, forget about all the bells and whistles and lights on the knobs and all that. I'm telling you, this thing will outsear just about anything I've tried, in the lower price ranges. Let me make that clear. It's a little difficult to bring down for smoking and roasting, but it can be done just like with any gas grill. Usually the typical problem you have with particularly inexpensive gas is just they don't get hot, but they're still don't go down to 225 if you want to, even with all the burners on low, so you got to go 2-zone setups anyway. Anyway, that one blew me away, and we're definitely recommending it to people that are in that price range.
Let's ask a question here. Desmond and I are both fairly avid outdoor cooks, especially when the weather picks up. And I say when the weather picks up, anything that's above freezing or warmer than that, and not torrentially raining. So we might be outside cooking 3 and 4 and 5 days a week, maybe more. What kind of a general lifespan are you seeing out of this Char-Griller Grilling Pro realistically?
They gave it, as I recall, they gave it something like a 5-year warranty on the body, and maybe it could go because it's a little heavier gauge steel than the really flimsy stainless steel stuff. Although it's funny, once I determined that it got really hot, It gets up above 800 degrees when you got everything cranked up.
Really?
I'm looking at their manual and it says don't let it get above 450. I go, wait a minute. So I talked to the guys and they issued an official statement, which I have at my review at AmazingRibs.com, which essentially says allow it to get as hot as it can, but be forewarned it'll reduce the life of the grill. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, if you put a cover on it, they actually make pretty good covers. Char-Griller covers are pretty good. And of course, it also depends on how much you use it. But, there's probably some people that just keep them going for a long time. I can't see it lasting. Certainly not as good as a Weber or a higher quality grill.
Right. Desmond, turn your lights on there so we can get some of the green screen haze out of there. So this is under $200 or $200?
Yeah, I mean, the list is like $199. Yeah. So, and there you can always get them on sales. I shouldn't say always, but it happens quite a bit with those kind of products.
All right. So is this like a gold medal?
I gave it a gold medal.
Yeah.
Because we always weigh in the price too. And for $200 or less, it's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I like that kind of stuff. I think, Greg, we've talked about it. I get to try some things that I wouldn't have bought myself, thousands and thousands of dollars. And it's like, wow, this is great. And most of that stuff works pretty good and it better, for that kind of money. But I still have my heart with the peoples, us peoples, that aren't going to spend several $1,000s.
Yeah.
But they want something that will work for them, and particularly for somebody who's on a budget, who $200 is about all I can swing right now. I definitely would have to recommend that one.
All right, the other one is from Masterbilt.
Masterbilt.
I gotta be honest. Let me make sure that we're coming from a position of correctness here. I'm not intimating that you also said that I did, but I haven't not been a fan of Masterbilt, but I don't necessarily think I've been a fan of Masterbilt. So I'm interested to hear about it.
They're actually, we had some bad experiences with them a few years back, but I saw them. It looked just like going and seeing their equipment. That the quality was getting better, the builds were getting better. We haven't tested a lot of their stuff, but actually. A big investment company purchased Masterbilt and Smoke Hollow, and get this, Kamado Joe.
Oh, really?
So all three brands are run by this. I don't know if I should say they're run by this company, but they're somehow interconnected now. It is kind of, Smoke Hollow and Masterbilt. That doesn't make it's not as surprising. But Kamado Joe, I was a little surprised. Let's see what happens. But I wonder if that coincides with this innovation that Masterbilt has come up with their new gas cabinet smoker. They call their thermotemps. They come in two sizes. And this is what's groundbreaking about it, is that it is a thermostatically controlled gas cooker. And you just don't see many of those outside. Meathead and I have been harping about it forever. It's like, we got them indoors. Why can't you get them outside? And I hear a lot of different explanations. I think it's coming. But I have to fall back on the idea that if it could be done easily and affordably, it would be done. At any rate, this thing, it's got a temperature range of 175 to about 350, and you just set it. There's no thermostat on it. You'd probably, if you have your own digital thermometer, wouldn't hurt to put it in there. But it was a breeze to work with. It had some other really neat features about it. It had a fuel gauge for the LP tank, which was different. Charbro is using these. They're not based on weight like the Weber gas LP gauges. They're based on pressure inside the tank. And that I couldn't tell you how well it works, but it is a nice feature. It has a flame sensor. So if the flame blows out on the burner, it automatically shuts off the gas, so you don't have an issue with that. It's 2 doors, which many upright gas smokers have, but that's always nice. But it has a really neat wood tray that's attached to the lower door. So when you swing the lower door out, the tray is attached, to the door, so you don't have to slide the tray out. And I don't know, it was just really cool, man.
What was the price range on that one?
Oh, they actually goosed the MSRP on. When I reviewed it, it was $350, and now they want $450 for it. But they're unloading. All they did was change the logo from the original model, and they're unloading those, so you can get deals on them if you can find them. I even confirmed it with them because some of our readers were asking, are these different specs? Is there anything different about it? And Masterbilt told me all it's different is the logo on the lower door. So grab those old ones up if you can, and hopefully we'll see. That's the kind of brand, once again, you always see specials on them.
And you said that you turn it on and you have no real ability to control finite temperature.
Well, no, it's thermostatically controlled. There's a thermostat inside. It's in that sense, if people are familiar with pellet smokers, you set it like an indoor kitchen oven.
Okay, so you can set it to 225 or 350 and it'll just stay there.
Yes, exactly. And maximum range is about 350.
Got it. Do we have, Desmond, do you have any questions for Max yet?
Not necessarily. I was just doing some research on now this is the Masterbilt stack, Masterbilt, was this the 44?
The 340.
340, okay.
Yeah.
Looking at the wrong one.
All right.
Well, that's the larger one.
Yeah.
They make a smaller one. I forget what, 30 or something, 300. So it's offered in 2 sizes, but they're identical in their features and performance. And yeah, it's nice. Gas smokers are pretty nice. They work really well.
Max, are we allowed to talk at all about the thing that you got your hands on recently, which is it's my favorite grill manufacturer. I know Desmond owns a kettle version of this manufacturer's grill. We're all, what can I say? We're all pretty big fans of Weber here. And I remember, was it a year ago or maybe it was 2 years ago now, Max, that we were talking about a big Genesis revamp and taking a bunch of different models under one name and blah, blah, blah. And so well,
actually 2018, I think something went haywire in the land of Weber, and that's pretty rare. They're pretty dang good about what they do, and I share your appreciation of the brand. But boy, when they rolled out their Genesis 2 for 2018, we were wondering what the heck was going on. Where there were a lot of things we were upset about or disappointed about, and rather than relive the past, when they came up with the new, I call it the Genesis 2 2.0, they've sort of reined a bunch of elements in that they were trying to do, went back to a lot of basics, and I think what they've come up with is they're back to where Genesis used to be in many ways. I got one on my deck now, but it's under about a foot of snow. And did I mention it's -6 degrees out there?
I've heard, yes.
Yeah, I did a couple little tests on it, but I haven't cooked on it yet. But I have high hopes from just the little bit I've seen. One of the things we disliked about the 2018 Genesis, they broke it up into 2 lines. They had their standard Genesis and the Genesis LX, and the LX was really expensive. And in my view, it was like halfway between what the previous tried and true beloved Genesis line was and their top of the line Summits. And you're like, what do you get for this? All the burners were underpowered. They had this kooky system where they did not allow any they did not offer any sear burners on any model.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you don't need it because on the LX models, the dial goes up to super hot. I forget what they called it. And we were all joking. We were going, this is like Spinal Tap, where the dials go up to 11 on their Marshall amplifiers, you know. And it was still underpowered. The one I got on my deck, the main burners are higher powered than the ones on the LX model. And it's like, well, okay, well, you put an extra notch on the knob, and you say that's a searing system, and it was disappointing. I have high hopes for this. As always with Weber, beautifully made, beautifully designed. I was just saying to one of the retailers recently that since I just slapped this one together, I wouldn't say I enjoy putting grills and smokers together, but with Weber, it's a more pleasant experience because everything is so well thought out. Even when they design them, they think about who's going to put them together and how they're going to package them, and it's noticeable. Max Good, AmazingRibs.com, joining us here on the show. Max, do you want to do a lightning round before I let you go? Oh, sure. All right. Excuse me. I had a little Max cold. Is dying over there. Max, come back to us. All right, here we go. Fun list of questions we're going to race through. First answer on the top of your head. There's no wrong answers unless it's wrong, and then I'll let you know. True or false, searing seals in the juices? False. Yes or no, you still have the first barbecue pit you ever owned? I don't, and one of the things that's making me cry is my 24-year-old Weber Performer. The kettle was still working, although the lower vents were getting a little flimsy. The frame blew out on it. Oh, no. I finally put it out by the mailbox, and it was gone immediately. I hope somebody light it up and use it. But I got a Summit charcoal grill on my deck, and I said, well. All right, let it rest or let it eat? Well, yeah, this idea of now we're talking about steaks. Max, you don't need to let a Max. No dissertation. Give me the answer for Christ's sake. No, don't let it rest. Sorry. All right, radio or podcast? What's that? Radio or podcast? Oh, well, of course, a podcast. Of course. Bourbon or gin? Bourbon. Old fashioned or Sazerac? I'll say old fashioned. Beef brisket or pork ribs? Beef brisket. Guy Fieri or Bobby Flay? Bobby Flay. No insult, guy. Ina Garten or Ree Drummond? What's that? Ina Garten or Ree Drummond? Ina Garten. Open pit or Sweet Baby Ray's? Sweet Baby Ray's. All right, 2 for 2. Good for you. Goodness. All right, Max Good. It can be found here on this show once a quarter, talking about what's new and happening in the world of live fire cooking when it comes to cookers. You can keep up with him over at AmazingRibs.com. He's the keeper of the flame. Max, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you. It's always my pleasure, Greg. And Des. It has been a pleasure. All right, guys. Mutual love fest. I can see it.